So it's time to discuss transfers once again, and I like the fact that the particular transfer window the past few days has been, a little quiet for Premier League sides. At least we can have some breathing space, so to say. But if there's any club that fans should be afraid of, that's Liverpool, the reigning champions, because they don't seem to be slowing down at all for any reason. And Victor, speaking about Liverpool, there's talk that Liverpool would look to sign Mark Guehi. As usual, there's like the obvious chance that since Cancer is leaving, they would like to ideally bring in, a replacement. So the question now is simple. McGuire is saying that he would only consider joining Liverpool if he is guaranteed a starting spot. What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah, first of all, you can't exactly blame the lad for wanting to further his career, further his reputation. He's only turning 25 next month. Still means he's got probably 8 or 10 years at the top level as a center back.
Yeah.
That's the thing, for him in the current situation, it doesn't make a ton of sense. For Liverpool, it does. He's good. He's prem proven, homegrown. He's still young, but I think he should go for it only if Ibrahima Konate leaves. Sure, Kwanzaa is leaving, but he didn't exactly play a huge role last season. Konate did. I don't think Joe Gomez is much of a threat to the starting lineup because of his injury record. But Guehi, yeah, if he wants like starting 11 every week, then he needs to wait until the Konate saga, I guess, is settled.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought the same too. And moving on to Arsenal, Arsenal have been linked to several players this window. Sesko, Gyökeres, Rodrigo, and stuff like that. But now Arsenal are interested in yet another Chelsea player in the name of Noni Madueke. I can see the
And the
reactions from Victor
winger,
already. Yeah. So, Mark, the question is: do Arsenal even need a player like this?
What do you think? He's not even needed at Chelsea. Why would Arsenal need him? I don't understand that. I mean, they better sign 3 strikers than 5 wingers and still play with Martinelli and at best Sheshko. I feel like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the same thing I thought. And at this point, I have to think that we have a secret agreement with Chelsea that we must sign some of their dead players every season. I actually think there is an agreement, on the ground that we don't know about. But yeah, moving on to players that are not wanted by their current clubs. Monaco are interested in signing United goalkeeper Andre Onana. And I know we've spoken about him in previous episodes, Victor, but if the interest is genuine, do you think United should let him go?
I mean, the question must be rhetorical, right? It's it's a no-brainer. The thing is, reports are saying he wants to stay and fight for his spot at United, which I can't imagine is good news for Max. If the opportunity comes, definitely push him out the goddamn door and cut your losses. Done. At the moment, I don't think there's a pound for pound goalie worse than Onana in the Prem.
Yeah, that's a very bold claim, anyways. But yeah, and just on a final note, and this one is not about a player, but a manager. Nottingham Forest was one of the clubs we talked about the most in our previews, for last season. And now, Espirito Santo has signed a new 3-year contract. Just how big is that for the club, Max?
I mean, he improved the club pretty much a lot, and also it looks like they're going to sign more players than usual, promising stars, and as we can all see, Nuno improving young players pretty much. So at least for 3 more years, they're not gonna be in fight for relegation. Definitely, I'd say this is pretty good for this club.
Enough. Yeah, Victor, your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I feel like the jury is out. I'm afraid the expectations might be set a little bit high ahead of next season. He might not survive another full campaign if they don't make at least knockout stages in the Conference League, and if they're lingering in mid-table in the Prem, he might be gone by December. Would it be fair? Absolutely not. But football is often not fair to coaches. Look what happened when they drew against Leicester. Imagine that times 10.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I agree.
Okay,
It's
let's do
unfortunately
without
not fair.
Leicester next season.
Not fair to coaches. I mean, look at Eric Ten Hag, the best coach that we've seen in the Premier League over the last 10 years. And look what happened to him at United, you know. But anyways, on that note, that's all we have for this transfer episode. You know, we're expecting that, you know, more business will happen soon enough. And as they do, we'll be sure to give all the latest bits and discuss all the best talking points as well.